Here is what some healthcare professionals are saying when they were asked, what excites you the most about NRF2 activation, and how is this specifically impacting you and your patients?
Extremely excited about NRF2 activation. In medicine, we usually don't have a pathway that we can activate that can do both prevention as well as therapy. And for me, listening to Washington State University make the statement in 2015 that it could be the most extraordinary therapeutic and preventative method in medicine is just exciting, because as a healthcare professional, we want to be able to provide for our patients. We want to be able to allow them to prevent disease and also give them an option where their body can kick in and heal.
In medical school, we're trained to diagnose disease and treat with drugs. And drugs really don't cure the disease. They treat an endpoint. And I got very frustrated with that in my medical practice. And I started looking around for other ways to help my patients be healthier. About 8 years ago, I was shown Protandim NRF2. Protandim NRF2 is a nuclear factor that is a master regulator of our antioxidant response. It's a switch to our genetic expression, puts us to a younger age in our genes, in our cells. So when we do that, we start to be able to reduce oxidative stress. And there was a clinical study that I saw proving that Protandim reduced oxidative stress by an average of 40% in 30 days, and everyone tested.
I am excited about NRF2 activation for its ability to trigger our cells to repair and especially to upregulate those anti-inflammatory enzymes.
Personally, as a physician, athlete, and someone that cares about optimal wellness, I've often wondered what that unifying factor is among these wide variety of compounds in nature that can seemingly activate our own ability to heal. What I've recently learned is that it is the NRF2 pathway. All these compounds in nature activate a pathway inside our bodies that is a nuclear transcription factor that codes for a specific area on our DNA called the antioxidant response element that will code for the production of thousands of what we call survival genes, genes that help us repair, detoxify, protect.
This is a sequence. When we activate it, it literally changes what the cell does. So this concept of what's called nutrigenomics, it's not just food, it's not just genes, it's how they interact. So we now know the switch that if we activate it, it can literally turn on the body's ability to heal and repair, but not just the body, inside of the cell. So we've always wanted to do that before. We always wanted to raise antioxidant levels, and so we do that through eating fruits and vegetables. But now we know the sequence. We know that we can activate that sequence where we actually put those antioxidants inside the cell. So it's an absolute game changer for us to be able to know how to activate that switch, because it makes massive differences in people's ability to heal and repair.
Being in pediatrics, my passion, my practice is teaching families from the start of their little ones' lives how to be strong and how to stay healthy. These products, they really do offer hope in a day and age where we need powerful defenses to protect ourselves against stressors that we are bombarded by every single day.
One of the reasons why I was really interested in NRF2 activating and really wanting to share it with others was that it's not a medication for this, it's not a supplement for that. It is reducing the stress on our bodies so that we can do whatever healing work it is that we need to be doing, because our bodies really do have that innate ability when that stress is reduced.
Years ago in Oxford, NRF2 did not exist. And now, if you go on PubMed, there are over 11,000 peer-reviewed articles on NRF2. When in your lifetime as a medical practitioner can you say that you are literally part of cutting-edge technology and have the ability to impact patients in so many different ways?
So it excites me because I now know the switch and I can activate it, so I can see drastic changes not only in my own family's lives, but in lives of people I've taken care of for years.
We specialize in treatment of stroke and traumatic brain injury, and we were always looking for something to help the body awaken in a different way that no other traditional supplements or medications that we were working with physicians were really able to do. So honestly, this has helped us get more out of our patients than ever before.
the results that I've seen in others taking this product is just very unique to that individual, however oxidative stress is manifesting in their body. When I got into naturopathic medicine, it wasn't because I wanted to just relieve people of their symptoms, but I really wanted to help them to optimize their health and to achieve that highest potential that they had.
In my practice, I see patients in varying stages of injury, recovery, and chronic conditions that are often honestly difficult to treat. Inflammation is the basis for all loss of function. It is directly tied to oxidative stress and causes pain. That pain causes functional deficits in my patients. To have something so powerful at triggering our own body's natural anti-inflammatories and help create an environment for the body to heal, that's a game changer.
25 years teaching physicians. I'm practicing for almost 20 now. And so when I saw that shift happen, I knew something was different. And I'm watching people that I've been treating for a decade and longer get results that I was not getting.
I think truly in order to be able to share this information with other people, I had to truly believe that this product, and science really did what it was claiming it would do. And I was super excited 5 years ago when I was first introduced to see how much science had already been done and research had already been performed on the NRF2 protein and what was already being said. But in the past 5 years, the growth in that research has just been exponential. And that really just builds my confidence and my belief in sharing this information with other people, with patients, knowing that what I'm telling them is true and accurate, and activating this pathway in this manner really does what we say it's going to do.
I know that there's not always a one size fits all. And so for me, learning about the NRF2 activation just really excited me, because it was finding a pathway that all of our cells have, that every human being has, that can be activated and encourage the health of a cell and therefore our bodies. So I am always on the lookout of what I can do to offer to my patients what else that they can do. Back about 10 years ago, I would tell them, my goal is to keep you healthy and out of my office, but that's going to be requiring seeing me at times. And they would be a little questioning it. You want me to see you when I'm healthy too? And nowadays, fast forward to now, people are realizing it. They have to be proactive. They don't want to wait for something to happen in order to take care of themselves. They've seen how their parents or their siblings or their friends have aged, and they're thinking, I want to prevent this. What can I do? And for me, learning about the NRF2 activation has just really been one of those key answers that I can tell everybody about.
So I took it, my family took it, and more importantly, my 15-year-old Basset Hound Murphy took it. And he was at that stage of his life, and quality of life was becoming a real question for him. I gave him Protandim NRF2, and I still remember to this day, it was in a few weeks, when he started running around the table like a puppy, and at that day, I knew that I had my hands on something tremendous. It was my obligation as a medical professional to share it with people.
That first year of using Protandim in my practice and myself, I got a huge belief because I saw everybody get healthier and healthier, including myself. So when I can do that, I certainly want to continue. And I'm really, really impressed with what we have. There are now over 20 published medical studies on Protandim NRF2. There are peer-reviewed studies. There are patents on Protandim. And I will continue recommending Protandim to everyone.
I knew people needed to know, because since I've been searching, I knew others were as well. And when you find something that works, that can help people, you share it. That's just what we do. It's what we do as physicians. It's what we do as good human beings. And what I've seen is that everyone around me, the people that I associate with, the people that I spend the most time with, they're happier, they're healthier, they feel terrific, they're in a great mood, they have more energy, they recover quicker, and who wouldn't want that for the people they care about? I mean, everybody deserves to have optimal health and vitality.
When we look in the cell, when we look at the molecular biology, so myself being a molecular biologist, we want to know everything that's happening between that first signal that's coming into the cell and then that physiology that's happening. But what's been shown in aging research is that communication signal gets lost or muted or attenuated as we get older. So the same signals are coming in, but the signal is much more dampened as it's going through the cell. So nutrigenomics is so exciting because what has also been shown is that you can put nutrients into the system to basically reawaken those cellular signaling pathways. There's been many different theories put out there as to why we age. But what's turned out to be the case is no one theory of aging has turned out to be the thing that we need to intervene on so that we can experience healthy longevity or keep ourselves as healthy for as long as possible. So what's probably going on are all these different theories of aging that are out there are having an additive effect to those declines that we see occurring with age. And this is what's so exciting about LifeVantage. We're looking at this layered approach now to these cell signaling pathways, what's happening to them as we age, and then basically layering a nutritional approach to these different theories of aging through nutrigenomics to try to keep us as healthy for as long as possible. Researchers found early on that as we age, we basically start to accumulate free radicals and other oxidants. And if left unchecked, this can go on to have very serious consequences to the cell. So then we call that going from oxidative stress to oxidative damage, where these oxidants are actually attacking the structures inside of the cell. But what's so interesting is our bodies have been able to capture the ability of antioxidants and put that capacity inside of our DNA and specifically in our genes. The main protein that's responsible to turn on those antioxidant and detoxification enzymes is a protein called NRF2. NRF2 is an incredibly interesting protein. Normally it's just sitting quietly in the cell, but when it starts to interact with things that shouldn't be there, so whether it's a toxin, a free radical, an oxidant, it gets released from the cell wall. It ultimately makes its way into the nucleus and is literally flipping the switches on our DNA to turn on these protective mechanisms. It's been shown that the activity of NRF2, both its sensing and then the signaling that's going through these different communication networks, actually is declining as we get older. And this actually starts as early as our 20s. So Protandim NRF2 is so interesting because it was specifically designed with a specific number of ingredients in the right ratios that has been clinically shown to activate the NRF2 protein, whether or not there are these insults that NRF2 is experiencing. So ultimately, again, it's going to go into the nucleus of the cell, flip these protective genes on, but it's basically bringing our cells to a heightened state of readiness when those insults do ultimately enter the cell. So again, where this nutrigenomic research is so exciting is that we can utilize extracts from plants to basically reawake NRF2 and bring it back to its full potential, again, to help us stay as healthy for as long as possible. Another major theory of aging that's out there is the mitochondrial theory of aging. And depending on who you talk to, a lot of people will say there's a lot of overlap between the free radical oxidative stress theory of aging and the mitochondrial theory of aging. And the reason is as we get older, our mitochondria basically start to break down. And if you're not familiar with what the mitochondria are, that is where the vast majority of our energy production is happening. So you can think of the mitochondria as being the cell's powerhouse. And so when they stop working, we stop working. So as researchers went in and looked at what's happening in the mitochondria with age, they find that they're not producing as much energy. They become far less efficient. They also become oxidized from these other free radicals that they're one, making, and two, that they're exposed to. So just the overall mitochondrial health in literally every aspect is declining as we get older. So Protandim NRF1 Synergizer was specifically formulated to target mitochondrial health. So we know that the protein itself, NRF1, is responsible for mitochondrial turnover. So as the mitochondria are starting to decay, we want to remove the bad ones from the cell and replace it with new ones. So NRF1 has been shown to, one, remove damaged or bad mitochondria, but then also is responsible for the biogenesis, right, the making of new mitochondria within the cell. And so Protandim NRF1 Synergizer was specifically formulated to, one, target the NRF1 protein, and then two, deliver nutrients that have been shown to promote overall mitochondrial health. A theory of aging that's really caught our attention lately is this 𝗤𝗏 theory of aging, and it's a really interesting theory. The theory really comes out of studies that were done looking at what they call caloric restriction. So what is caloric restriction? Caloric restriction is the process whereby we significantly reduce the number of calories that we're eating every single day, and it can be as much from 40 to 60%. So you might think, well, why is that so exciting? That sounds like a miserable existence, and it definitely is, right? When you actually go in and look at the physiology of individuals who are undergoing caloric restriction, you actually see just a tremendous amounts of health benefits coming as a result. Healthy longevity, a healthy vascular system, helping us maintain cholesterol levels already in the normal range, and then a lot of cognitive functions. So our mood's a little bit better, we can think a little bit clearly once we've acclimated to caloric restriction. You do start to get some increases in energy as well. So if we're again talking about inputs versus outputs, or the physiology or the health benefits that are being experienced, these researchers wanted to go in and understand the molecular biology through these cell signaling pathways or communication networks during caloric restriction. So when they were doing that, they went in and they identified a family of proteins called the 𝗤𝗏. And so it turns out when you remove 𝗤𝗏 from the cell, and there's really easy ways you can do that genetically, or you put different inhibitors into the system so you keep these 𝗤𝗏 from working, what they found is that you completely lost the health benefits of caloric restriction. So thus, 𝗤𝗏 are absolutely required for the health benefits of caloric restriction. As this connection was made between caloric restriction and 𝗤𝗏, scientists wanted to figure out everything that they could about these 𝗤𝗏 proteins. So what does it take for these 𝗤𝗏 to work? One thing that they found absolutely required for 𝗤𝗏 activity is a molecule called NAD. And this was really a surprise, because normally scientists think of NAD as just living in the mitochondria, living other places in the cell, involved in various aspects of metabolism and energy production. People really got interested in that relationship between NAD and 𝗤𝗏 because now you had a direct link between metabolism and then ultimately a way to activate this family of proteins that's been shown to be so important for all these health benefits. So of course NAD becomes a very intriguing molecule. We started to ask the questions, were there ways that we could manipulate 𝗤𝗏 activity through NAD without having to restrict all of those calories? So we went to work, we formulated Protandim NAD Synergizer specifically to target NAD and NAD-dependent pathways with the ultimate goal of increasing 𝗤𝗏 activity. So we performed our research studies with our strategic partners, and what we found is that 3 hours, we saw a 46% increase in 𝗤𝗏 activity. And then when we looked at 24 hours after giving Protandim NAD Synergizer, we saw a 100% increase in activity. So I'm incredibly excited about what LifeVantage is doing with its Protandim family of products, how we're addressing these 3 different theories of aging, the free radical theory of aging, the mitochondrial theory of aging, and now the 𝗤𝗏 theory of aging. It's really opening up the door of possibilities, both for future product development at LifeVantage, but I also really think it's going to start to change the conversation that people are having out there as it relates to healthcare. So taking a more proactive approach to our health and wellness instead of a reactionary approach.